The thing that you're very interested in, making more money. Yes, we're going to talk go-to-market strategy, but really this is about how do you get more customers? How do you get more revenue? How do you shrink time to revenue? And how do you make this scalable and repeatable so that it continues and is not just a one-off situation? I keep pressing the wrong button. There we go. You think I wasn't trained on this. All right. The issue, though, for driving revenue growth is that it's hard. It's difficult. The road to build that consistent pipeline is fraught with potholes. You've got companies out there today that are in hold mode. Budgets are being frozen or worse. Headcount's being frozen or worse. Unnerved market. That's a real thing right now. Evolving customer demands. This has been going on for a while. You know, customer patterns changed when the internet came in, they changed when COVID came in, and it seems like they're evolving still today. Customer needs and the way they get their information, it's a challenge trying to keep up with that. Longer customer cycles or selling cycles, resource constraints, and of course there's competitive competition as well. My name's Jeff Ballard. I'm Senior Go-to-Market Strategist. As you can see here, Partner Ecosystem Leader. I've worked with companies big and small. I've had employee number 4 once in my career, and I've worked for a company that my employee number was so big it had a letter in it. So I've been the full range. Scale-ups, emerging market leaders, and working with those companies, I started to see what was working for a go-to-market strategy, what works best for companies out there. And I'm going to talk about that today, and at the end, I'm going to talk a little bit about an opportunity for you. I'm actually announcing a new scale initiative at the end of this. So, oh, and by the way, the purple QR code over there, you can connect with me on LinkedIn, make a meeting with me, call me. Just please wait about 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I got to finish this first. But you can connect with me with that QR code. So let's talk, what is go-to-market? You know, I remember sitting not too long ago saying, okay, I know what I think it is, but what is in general? What is it? What do people say that it is? So I Googled it, right? What did I get when I Googled it? Oh my gosh. Everybody and their brother has an opinion of what go-to-market is. And what I saw is it's typically based on their experience, their knowledge, and their know-how. So when they talk about it, they maybe talk about it as a sales play. Maybe they talk about it as a marketing plan. I'm pretty sure that if I were to ask 10 people, what is go-to-market, I'm going to get 12 different answers. So one thing I'd like to do right now, just to make sure you're awake, because I know we're not too long after lunch, I'm going to do a quick survey. Just show of hands, very simple. What do you think is go-to-market? How many people say it's about a new product launch? Okay, you're not that sleepy. How many say it's a sales play? Okay. How many of you say it's a marketing plan? Yeah, I see that one a lot. And then last but not least, it's just the latest buzzword. Okay, I would have expected a lot more hands. That's where I thought everybody was going to go, frankly, on this. Yeah. So let's take and just wipe all of this away and discuss what is go-to-market. Quite simply, it's taking what you build as an offering in your office, in your offices, and how you get it to your customer that they're now using it. So it's getting it from development to use. That's your go-to-market, right? And it's simple as going from A to B, just going point A to point B. Not really, because there's a lot of things that come up in the middle of that. It's not always a straight line. It's not always an easy thing. So that's why we talk go-to-market strategies and building out a go-to-market plan. But why else go-to-market? Top thing here, go-to-market is a success multiplier. This enables you to align your teams in your organization, not just your sales team and your marketing team, all of your teams, your development, your customer, finance, people that are touching or have impact on customer relationships. Being able to align those teams on the strategy, that's going to help you then as you start to proceed with that strategy and address challenges that come up, because there are going to be challenges that come up you didn't see. There's also going to be opportunities that come up that you didn't see, that you can now optimize or capitalize on. And then, of course, being able to build sustainable growth. The numbers bear it out. You can see here there's a number of statistics. I pulled some of the most relevant here to talk about why go to market. 2 times more pipeline, 40 to 60% faster sales cycle, faster growth, 20% less churn for companies that are implementing a go-to-market strategy. In essence, go-to-market fuels your growth engine. The more targeted and the more aligned that it is, the better the performance and the more success that you have. So I said I was going to talk about the secrets for go-to-market. This is the first one, and it's the biggest one. And if I were to only pick one, this is it. Customer-focused go-to-market. And I guarantee you, if you go through all of those slides, all those websites that I showed a second ago, you're going to see very few talk about customers first. And you notice today, when Scale was showing the roadmap, what did they do? They did it from a customer perspective. When Chris was up there talking about what he did at Shazam and what powered him through and what got him to the end, it was about customers, reducing friction. Reducing friction for who? The customers. So having that customer focus is critical. There are 4 core pillars to a go-to-market strategy. You've got the customer, first and foremost, obviously. Who are they? What are their wants, needs, and aspirations? And what are the outcomes that they're looking for? Next is the offering. Customer-centric design. How does it address the customer's needs, those pains, wants, and aspirations? And what additional services do you need to bring in to make that offering complete? And I always like to bring up with partners especially, the offering is not Scale's offering. It's Scale plus your services, plus any other products that you're bringing in, any support that you're providing. That's the offering. Marketing, communicating in the customer's terms, reaching the customers where they are, and aligning to their buying decision. And then from the sales side, it's about talking value, supporting that buying decision, pre, during, and post-sale. So I'm going to go into these in a little bit more depth here. How many have played the game 2 Truths and a Lie? Yep, I think many of us have. Well, I'm going to do 2 truths and a how. So we're going to go through each of those sections and talk about 2 truths. As I said, customer, that's most important. Start with the end in mind. Anybody read that book, 7 Successful Habits of Highly Successful People? Whatever, you know the book. Begin with the end in mind. That's what you need to do. The customer is that end. And how are you going to get there? If you don't start here, quite frankly, a go-to-market plan, you might as well take all your money and go put it on red over in the casino and good luck. Start with the customer. Now here's a question for you, kind of a trick question. You're in business to do what? Solve a problem, make money, build a product. You're in business to build customers. That's what you're there for. You want to have those customers. That's really your product at the end of the day. The old expression, if a tree falls in a forest and nobody's around to hear it, does it make a noise? I would ask you, if you have the best product in the world, the greatest people to implement it, but it sits on a shelf because you don't have any customers that want it, does it make revenue? No, it does not. That's why you're in business, to build customers. The second one, customer is the captain of their ship. I love that Jeff started off the day with poems. I'm like, really? You stole my thunder, man. But that's what Jeffs do. We talk poetry. So the customer they're the captain of their own ship. It's like that poem, Invictus. I'm the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. The customer is the captain of their ship. They're the captain of their journey. They're setting where they want to go. Your role in that is to help them navigate how they want to get there. You hear some people say customer is king, customer is always right. I don't subscribe to that. You heard some examples earlier today where the scenario was customer said do this, and it amounted to millions of dollars of wasted time and energy and effort to implement AI. It's the same thing. Customers don't necessarily know what they don't know, so your job is to help them navigate. What are you trying to do? What's the outcome? Let me help you get there. So how? Those are the two truths. So how now? Defining that ideal customer profile, the ICP. Who buys and why, who influences, who approves, what industries and what specialties. And I know you guys do a lot of that. And I hear the term, it's come up over the last few weeks for some reason, the word Rolodex. How many of you guys know Rolodex? Yeah, of course. That's, used to be that's how you would network. That's how you get your business. I have all these contacts. That's not the way you want to go about it. Understanding who's influencing and who are the buyers in a broader sense. When you're looking to expand in industries, and I was there at Power Hour yesterday, and I saw a lot of you raise your hands and say, yeah, we want to expand into new markets. We want to expand into new industries. Being able to understand those customers and what are their pains, wants, needs, and aspirations, that's the key. And what outcome, of course, they're trying to achieve. That's how you build your go-to-market strategy, solving the customer's problem. So point 2, the offering. I already said that offering is that collection of goods and services you're putting together to solve a customer's outcome. Customers, however, don't buy solutions. Believe that? They don't buy solutions, they buy outcomes. Now, an outcome is not a solution, is what you have to offer. An outcome, and let me give you an example of what an outcome is. I couldn't believe Jason, right before break from Mako, started talking about outcomes. I'm like, I'm glad he's talking about that, but again, why is he stealing my thunder? Everybody's stealing my thunder. So let me give you an example. You have an aunt, your dear Aunt Hilda just passed away recently, and she left you her Beatles collection because she knows that the two of you shared great special times listening to those records over and over again, endless hours. And she knew you would love them, and you were excited to get those because now you still had a connection to your dear Aunt Hilda. You don't have a turntable. This is 2025. What the heck? So now what do? I can go on to Apple Music. I can go to Spotify. But those aren't going to give that same experience of listening to an album on an actual turntable. So now you go out and buy a turntable. Yes, you have a budget. Yes, you have compatibility. You want to make sure it works with your system. And you may have some features or functions that you want to add into the mix as well. And you go out and buy a turntable. But is that what you're really buying? That solution to the problem? No. You're buying the outcome of being able to listen to that music exactly how you did with your Aunt Hilda, and you're able to now have a connection to her after she's gone. So that's the difference between a solution and outcome. The next thing is, it's not about you, it is all about them. And I don't say that in an accusatory, pointing a finger. I say that we do that from the vendor side. I've seen it from the partner side. We talk how great we are, how cool the product is, what functionality it has, all the great things that it can do. That's not what they're looking for. They want to understand outcomes. Customer outcomes are always greater than a feature list. So speak from those outcomes. When you're putting together that offering, design it with the customer in mind. Now we have this new Veeam partnership, right? So there's an opportunity to bring Veeam and Scale together. How are you going to build that go-to-market plan? Starting with the customer, then taking a look at, let's design with the customer in mind. Let's find what are the real-world problems we can solve, and make sure that we're packaging it so customers find the value in that. And then last but not least, we're messaging it in the customer's terms. Now at this point, I'm still at the product side. I'm not talking externally, I'm talking internally. We've got to build that discipline. We're talking about it in customers' terms. I'm sure you've heard the old axiom about real estate. There are 3 most important things in real estate are location, location, location. Same as holds true for marketing. It comes down to 3 things as well, and that is value, value, value. And what I mean by that, let me give you an example. I'm going to open up a chicken restaurant, okay? And I'm going to tell you, I've got these fresh chicken pieces. They're the top of the line. I've got top of the line deep fryer that's going to cook these pieces. I've got expert cooks who are going to take care of it and prepare the best food. I've got amazing fast service. It's very cost effective. It's a friendly environment. And when you leave, you're going to be full. Or should I say, you know what? People say my chicken is finger-licking good. Speaks to the customer, speaks to the value. So as you start to build out your marketing, I would ask the question, what are you marketing? Are you marketing finger-licking good, or are you marketing fried dead chicken parts? The second is, if you're not early, you're not late. Now, I'm not talking about meetings, because I personally am always late to meetings. I'm talking about going into the market. Buyers today, and I've seen so many numbers varying higher and lower than this, that talk about customers already make the decision long before they come talk to you or come talk to a vendor. So how do you break that? How do you get that information to them early? Make that value obvious when you're bringing it into the market and you're talking with customers, and do that early. Deliver insight, not just the features and functionality. Lead with that value. Be present wherever they are. You remember yesterday in the Power Hour, Teresa asked, what groups are you a part of? Your customer are a part of groups as well. Find out those groups and join those groups and be there. Not to pitch, but to be there and bring your expertise and share your knowledge. Be where they are and share vertical specific examples. Be consistent, focus, and give the customer a reason to care. I sum it up with this, much like they do on voting day in Chicago, do it early, do it often. And so now the fourth pillar, the last one that we have. It is not about closing the deal. Okay, we have sellers that, take a breath. I knew I was going to get eggs thrown at me or tomatoes thrown at me. It's not about closing the deal. It's about solving their need. That's what this is all about. Can I share a little bit of a life lesson with you guys? This isn't something that, fortunately, I had to learn, but it was shared with me by a seller that I worked with years ago. He told me about a time that his team went to a customer, understood what their needs were, talked with the IT organization, understood what the needs were, put together a proposal, went through the whole rounds of approvals. The IT department said, yes, this is perfect, this is exactly what we want, and you beat out all the competitors, we choose you. Great. It goes up to the CIO. CIO says, yep, checks all the boxes, looks good. I'm sending it over to the CFO for final budgetary approval, but everything's all good. Sits on the CFO's desk, and the CFO declines it. Instead of buying that product, that software implementation, what did he buy? He bought carpets. So sometimes you're up against carpets as your competitor. The issue for this hotel chain was for the customer experience. They felt their money was better spent on the hotel carpets, on the front lobby, rather than in the software that was being developed for the customer experience as well. So it's about knowing their needs, understanding their needs, and being able to sell to those needs, work with them to address their needs. The next thing is, it's not about sounding smart, it's really about being understood. Now, I know everybody in this room, that first line doesn't scare you whatsoever. You probably say it a bunch of times. We offer hyper-converged edge infrastructure with high availability clusters. But the groups that you're talking to, not everybody is in tune to that. And certainly not some of the decision makers. They're going to better understand we help multi-site retailers reduce IT complexity and cut support costs. Oh, wow, really? I've got banks all over, a number of bank locations. This may help me. So I start to understand what it is that you're talking about. So those are the two truths for sales. The how. Again, sales is supporting the buying decision. So the how, focus on their wants, needs, and aspirations. You hear it from me a lot, wants, needs, and aspirations. That's the key for that. Not the features, functions, and benefits, not the fried dead chicken parts. You want to align with how your customers buy, and again, you're helping them to decide, not in there just pitching the product or putting competitors down. And then you've got a great scale enablement and co-sell support team, being able to align with them that's the best factor in there. So those are the 4 pillars. Wrapped around these pillars now are what I call 3 tenets. And those tenets are strategy. You've got to have that strategy, because if you don't, as the great American poet Yogi Berra said, if you're not familiar with Yogi Berra, he was a former catcher and coach of the New York Yankees baseball team, and a very eloquent speaker, because he says, nobody ever goes to that place, it's always too crowded. He says things like that, right? So if you don't know where you're going, you'll end up someplace else. Have that strategy to help you drive that go-to-market plan. And then from execution, mobilizing all your resources around the go-to-market strategy. And that, again, that's not just sales and marketing. That's your product team. That's your engineers who are putting together the solutions. That's your support team. Anybody who's touching the customer and impacts the customer experience needs to be aligned around your go-to-market. This will provide you a firm foundation to be able to move forward as different challenges come up in the market, as well as the flexibility to take advantage of opportunities that may come up. Again, that's navigating the unforeseen. And then the last one, communications. Align and progress reporting. It's all about getting your team, your internal resources and your external stakeholders, your sales team and counterparts, getting everybody aligned around that. Not only that alignment, but knowing how you're progressing, knowing where we're tracking. So sharing that information. I'm a big believer in sharing that information. So, next steps. What can you do after this? My suggestion is do a self-assessment on your own go-to-market strategy and take a look. Where is there a weak link that maybe we can shore this up? Are we bringing our product team and our support team and some of these others that impact customer experience into this? Let's do that. So look for that weak link. Look for places where there's an opportunity to drive some meaningful revenue lift. Take a look, based on the things you learned today and tomorrow, what kind of things can you apply into your go-to-market strategy, especially around the partnerships like Veeam and Dell and Lenovo. I know some of you guys are partners with those guys. So bringing those into that, how are you selling that solution and incorporating it as a full solution? Focus on that over the next 30 days. Do a weekly check-in with your team. And as you extend that out even further, go monthly. Keep it quarterly if you build that discipline in. So that's the one suggestion. The other one is the announcement that I said earlier is that Scale Computing is launching a brand new partner go-to-market cohort. It's a Scale Computing GTMX Accelerator partner cohort. You can build your go-to-market strategy in alignment with Scale's go-to-market and MDF strategy. And by the way, Scale will be sponsoring the first 10 partners who do sign up. The seats are limited. We try and keep these cohorts relatively small so that they're more impactful for everybody that participates. Secure your spot now. This cohort is going to be kicking off June 10th. And let me talk a little bit about what that is. What is the GTM Accelerator? It's a program that helps you develop a high-impact, ready-to-execute go-to-market strategy in just 8 weeks. The way that it works, week 1, we kick off, again, Indianapolis, right there by Scale's headquarters. June 10th, you get a go-to-market plan, and it's not a heavy, intensive plan. It's a plan to get you started and get going. We go through the go-to-market overview deeper than what I did today. We go through the pillars and tenets in a more descriptive way, working with you as you're filling out that plan. I always like to say we put the work in workshops because I don't want you sitting there taking notes. I want you sitting there with your laptop open and filling that document in. Because at the end of the session, you're going to come out with the first draft of a go-to-market plan. We have go-to-market experts that are participating in the workshop, as well as your own peers. And I remember yesterday in Power Hour, that was something you guys said, is the ability to connect with each other. We'd like to have that. So that workshop, June 10th and 11th. The next few weeks are all virtual. And we do virtual go-to-market sessions, we do group coaching calls, we do one-to-one office hours, and we'll do podcasts. All of them designed with a specific element in mind, whether it's a tenant or a pillar or maybe some other information, but it's all designed to help you dig deeper into that and better complete your own go-to-market plan. So again, we're working right with you, and halfway through, we actually do a 0.5 review of your plan. So the scale team, our go-to-market team, and your team get together to talk about where you're at. Questions, concerns, ideas, things like that. And then we wrap up in week 8 with a final review of a 1.0 of that plan. And now, coming out of that, you have a high-impact, executable go-to-market plan. And since you've been participating in this the whole way through, you've been working with go-to-market resources, experts, your peer contacts, now you've got the ability to execute this on your own. That knowledge transfer that you can do this yourself, or if you choose to work with outside agencies, this gives you a much better leg up and will help make those relationships that much more impactful, because you can state out exactly, here's who we're going after, here's what we're trying to do, here's how this works, here's how this works. So it's a great program. You get that go-to-market strategy aligned to your key objectives and to scales, expert guidance, knowledge and tools, as well as a scalable framework that's all designed for sustainable growth. So that's what that go-to-market program is. I say, we talk about outcomes. Outcomes are what's important. These are the outcomes through this program. You're going to get 2x more pipeline. Partners do get 2x more pipeline, 30% faster growth, bigger deals, shrinking sales cycles, launching new products. There's a prime example right now with that new partnership, Veeam and Scale. That's amazing to me. So take a look at that. That's the reason number one. I would say your plans, you've got them, that's great. But let's go through this program and help you take those two products to market together for your customers. There's a QR code right there. It'll take you to that website. The program is launching June 10th. And if you're a URL person, there's a URL down there for you. But there you go. So that is the last one I have. Don't worry, I have the QR code here. So 2 minutes to go. See, I told you it went to 27 minutes. They were asking about Q&A. I said, I don't know, we'll see. So any questions? Happy to answer anything. All right, thanks. I appreciate it. And I hope to see you on June 10th in Indianapolis. So do hit the QR code up at the top. If you want to talk about it, I'm available. I'm going to be very easy to spot in a crowd. I had to double check, make sure I wasn't violating Scale branding, but they say I was good. Or you can connect with me on the QR code there at the bottom. So thank you very much.